Sip Raju, Sip Samatma, Sip Girish, Sip Sudeep Bhargava, audio video Sudeep. Thank you. Sip Kundan, Sip Sagai, Sip Sunil Chittal, Sip Parutiyama, Sip Eru, and the rest of you whom I cannot, Sip Ashok Nichani. Welcome. And today we are on to an interesting subject, the discussion for today. Who would like to give me your gyan? Somebody asked me the question, where does all power or electricity come from? Somebody asked me this question. So I'm passing on this question to the genius in this group. All the genius, you all should tell me, because I'm depending on you for this answer. Where does all the power or energy come from? So according to me, you are the genius in the group. I don't know. I don't know answer to this question. Where does all power or electricity come from? Who wants to start? Huh? Sunil Chittal, please start, sir.
Shivam Sarji.
Shivam, Sunil.
Of what little I know, all Prakriti or power is a manifestation of Maya, which is a part of Sip. So, as the ultimate answer, the actual power is Sip. But
No, I am talking about I am talking where is the power of electricity? Where we are talking about electricity today.
Okay, electricity actually comes from water.
Only water?
Yeah, when the water has that moves to friction at a very powerful, is a sort of a is a human what you call invention. Electricity is a human invention. In nature, it is also there as a formation.
Let us see. It's going to be an interesting discussion today, I promise you, by the end of it. Yeah. But let us try to get everybody's opinion. So Sunil Chittal says electricity comes from water. We have Ashok Nichani and then Pawan. I can guarantee you this is going to be a fun session, a very interesting session. Ashok Nichani.
Shivam Sarji.
Shivam Ashok.
Sarji, that electricity, what you are asking, it comes from water. That was my answer also, sir.
So yeah, all of you saying water, I don't understand. I want some genius. You're like confusing me, making me feel like I don't. Ashok, only from water it comes? The electricity coming to your house for your TV is coming from water?
It's electricity that is produced with the help of water.
Okay. Let us get Pawan's answer, Ashok. I want some genius. All those who are well educated in this group, please give the answers. Pawan, and then the rest of you. I think Sudeep, Girish, Samatma, all of you know the answer. Atmatra, you are also technically qualified. Kumar Swami, I don't see Kumar Swami today. Ashok Chotwani, Bliko. Who knows? Where does all electricity or energy, power come from?
One more point, Sarji. One more point.
Yes, sir.
Solar.
Now you're talking sense, Ashok. Now you're coming with some sensible answers.
Solar energy.
Yeah, of course, solar energy. Of course, solar gives huge energy. Sun can come from solar. Correct, Ashok. Now that's a good answer, Ashok. But let us ask Pawan or Sudeep Bhargava. Pawan is disappeared. Sudeep Bhargava.
Shivam, sir.
Shivam.
So what has been taught in science? I remember 4 sources of energy which are prevalent in India. I am going totally by science, not bringing the spirituality into the picture.
We are not. We are asking this question, and then we are seeing how this is related to spirituality.
So I'm first giving the answer from the science point of view. So there are 4 sources of energy. One is solar. Second is hydroelectricity, which comes from water.
Yes.
Third is the thermal energy, which comes from coal.
Yes.
And there's one more. Wind energy is also there. So, but that percentage in India is very less. And nuclear energy. Yes.
So these are
sorry, sir?
In Amsterdam, there is a amount of wind energy, and nuclear energy is also a big one. So how many you told? 4 or 5 or something?
5 of them. So wind energy in India is limited to very few places. So it's a very small percentage, but these 4 are having a substantial percentage as far as the India's energy sector is concerned. This is the science answer. We can add spiritualism to this a bit later.
Okay. So Sudeep,
I would like to add.
Sudeep Bhargava has come out with many options. Yes, sir.
I would like to add, if you are saying energy, then we have got thermal energy, nuclear energy, solar energy, and now we have got bioenergy.
No, sir, I'm talking about electricity, Sunilji.
Yeah.
Specifically talking about electricity only.
Then that gets transmitted into different distribution
Predictive.
is different. Yeah. Like
No,
our,
no,
like
I
our
think-
calculators work on solar energy. There is no electricity in that. Our
No, but it is
so,
power, right?
power,
so
energy. If you're saying energy, yes. Then the energy
So
is
let us
Kriya Shakti.
project the
From a
question
spiritual
once
point
again.
of view, it is
Let
Kriya
us project.
Shakti.
So Sunil Chittal, Sudeep Bhargava, please look at the question which was projected. Where does all power or electricity come from?
All,
Is it
yeah, all power comes from, all power comes, yeah, okay.
electricity?
Yeah. So when you
So
say
are we-
power is a part of the Lord, which is the Kriya Shakti, and that power comes from whatever, there are different manifestations.
Sunil, wait. Sunil Chittal. Let us go slow. Let us first touch the, we are going to hit on, I don't speak on anything other than spirituality. I think you know that.
Yes.
So let us first hit on the point. Where does all the power or electricity come from? So now all the genius, Sudeep Bhargava started with all the genius answers and then endorsed by Sudeep. Sudeep Bhargava said it comes from what? Hydropower, solar power, thermal power, wind power, nuclear power, and he gave one more if I'm not mistaken, or did I cover five? Five only. So hydropower, solar power, thermal power, wind power, nuclear power. So this is what, so anybody else wants to add to this? Pawan, do you want to speak, Pawan? And then Samatma. Yes, Pawan. And then Ashok Nichani.
Sir, as far as I know, I think electricity is a transfer of negative ions.
Oh.
Great. Physically in a wire, suppose there's a wire. Suppose there's a wire here. So in this wire, the electricity travels by.
Wait. Hello.
Okay.
Question. Where does it come from? You know the answer?
It comes from no, sir.
You get the point. When you give a good answer, I salute you. When you give a wrong answer, I cut you. So don't so because the group shouldn't get confused, Pawan, I hope you understand.
Okay,
Thank
sir.
you, Samatma.
Shivoham, sir.
Shivam, Samatma.
Sir, all the power comes, as Sudeep said, through different sources. But then
Yes.
finally, all power is energy.
Yes.
And all energy comes from the universal power that is finally SIP.
Okay. So we are not jumping to that still, Samatma. Thank you for saying. But let us wait. Let us wait for a moment, because this will help us in our journey of enlightenment. So Girish, thank you. Girish and Ashok Nichani wanted to say something, I'm not sure. Girish?
From one divine source.
Divine source.
Yes.
What is that divine source?
Sourceless source.
Sourceless source.
Yes.
My dear Girish, you are jumping the gun. Where does all electricity or power come from? Your Zoom call, where is the power coming from? Your mobile phone, battery. No, I don't know. If I am uneducated in the subject. I don't know. Sudeep Bhargava, where of those 5 powers come in the battery, Sudeep Bhargava? You told 5 powers. Then
Yes,
how
sir.
the power comes in the mobile phone?
So mobile phone is coming through the electricity only, na? So electricity has got these sources.
Battery. Suppose you charge the battery. So the battery has got power.
No, it's the electricity which is coming from the 220 volts AC that gets converted into some 12 volts battery which is there in the mobile phone.
So
So
we
it's ultimately coming from electricity only.
Okay, so you're saying battery cannot be called a source.
Battery is not a source because it itself is getting. Ultimately we can reach to, like Girishi said, it's the sourceless source. That is the ultimate answer.
No. Wait, don't jump there. But I'm
that's
just
why I'm
saying,
not jumping to that point.
No,
If
let
you,
us for the group to understand. So is battery also a source of electricity and power, or battery is not?
battery is a source of electricity, but it is also deriving its power from electricity only.
Which
So
is either
battery alone cannot give the power. It's not an ultimate source of power. It gets
Okay,
discharged after one day.
So it is only a product that conserves the power and lets us consume that power. That's all.
Correct. Correct.
So now, anybody wants to say something? Because I'm jumping to the next question now.
No, I would like to add for
Yes, sir.
clarity. For clarity, electricity is a secondary source, and it is coming out of a primary source which mankind till knows about is oil, coal, gas, nuclear.
Yeah.
There's a new invention. There is something called bioenergy, which will take us to warp travels and all, which is still under this thing.
No, no,
So
so
if you are talking electricity, electricity is always a secondary source. The primary source has to be oil, gas, solar, whatever we know up to now. But for us, in spirituality, we know all that comes from SIP.
Okay, now we'll come to that. So are we all clear? So thank you, Sunil. So what we are saying, all the power in this world, whether it's the power to move an aeroplane, or power to move a train, or power to power your laptop, or your mobile phone, or your television, every damn it power in this world is coming from what Sunil Chittal brought out. Sudeep, you agree that he brought a point saying these are all natural sources. This is coming from water, coal, nuclear. These are all wind. There are some natural forces which are the primary source, according to what Sunil is saying. From this primary source of power, hydro power, solar power, or rather, I will correct that slightly, Sunil. We will call it energy. From solar energy, from hydro energy, from thermal energy, we get thermal electricity, and we get thermal solar. Am I right, Sunil? So there is an energy, or there's a power, and where does all this power come in the world from? So this is where all of you already know the answer. Every power, everything that is coming in this world is coming from matter, from elements of matter, which are none other than what Samatma blurted out, saying they are SIP. Of course they are SIP. They are the supreme immortal power. But you tell the scientists this, he will not agree. If you tell the scientists that all this power is to have, what you are talking, what is supreme immortal power? This is only thermal power. This is only solar power. This is only hydro power. Will they agree? Will they agree that it is divine power? Who else said? Girish told something like sourceless. I don't know what he said. So what is sourceless source? What something he told? What is it?
Sourceless source.
Sourceless source, which basically, where is this power coming in the wind? Okay, the wind is blowing, and those big windmills, they are moving, and electricity is formed. We know it. Now the hydro in Niagara Falls, Joke Falls, big waterfalls, they are falling, the water is falling on the turbines. The turbines are moving, and as the turbines are moving, for those of you who don't know, this process is called transmutation. The transmutation is the process of converting energy from one form to another. This is known as transmutation. I wrote a book, 20 years book on, it was called Sex Transmutation. That's not a part of today's subject. But I wrote a book 20 years, but not AiR. I was not AiR. I wrote a book before I became AiR, which is on, leave the subject aside. So back to in that book, I talk about transmutation. My question today to all of you, do we realize what Girish told, what Samatma told, even what Sunil Chittal, Sudeep avoided telling because he was sticking to the question. He didn't jump out of the question. But all the others jumped and said, SIP, sourceless source, power. Yeah. So is it so complicated to realize, to be enlightened, that the power in this world is coming from one source? All the power. Do you know that scientists, they say, I don't know how many of you know, how much of the power known to man as a percentage, according to science? Anybody knows? Anybody knows, according to science, how much of the power of this universe is known to man? Who can give the answer?
0.0001%.
Correct. Some 0.0. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
into 10 raised to 32. It is.
Huh?
point raised to minus 32, they are saying, because now
No,
with
I
the
don't know,
illumination,
but it is it is some point percentage.
visible energy.
If you ask the scientist, if this we know 0.00 whatever percentage, then what is that 99.99? You know what the scientists say? They say it is dark energy
Dark energy.
and dark matter and gray matter or gray. I don't know what they say. Because I don't know what they say, because they don't know what they say. And they say it is unknown. They say scientists have agreed that 99.99% of the energy in the world is unknown to science. So, my dear friends, with that note, what is the point that we are getting to? You must. So, my friends, who would like to now question on this subject? This is a question I have created. Pawan, you want to say something, Pawan?
Yes, sir.
Ashok Nichani, you want to say something?
Just want to add one thing.
Yeah.
So as you told, it's a conversion of energy, but as far as how I know how the electricity works is the movement of electrons create electricity.
That is the process.
That's the process, yeah.
Yeah. In the process of transmutation, electrons are moving, whatever. We are not getting into science class. We are trying to get in the spiritual aspect of it.
So you're telling the electrons are the SIP. Electrons is the SIP.
No, we don't know. That's what you have to. That is the discussion today. So, do you think, does anybody know where this power is coming? Girish just said sourceless source. Why should we believe in Girish? Why should we accept Girish is saying sourceless source? Samatma Chuma telling SIP. Why we should believe? Suppose it is not so. Suppose it is some devil sitting somewhere in the sky and he's creating power for some reason we don't know. I don't know. So, Girish, what do you have to say, Girish?
Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can be transformed from one form to another form.
Excellent. Who said this?
One scientist said, so
but is it accepted?
what is this energy? It is divine energy only.
It is an accepted form of scientific law, correct? It's the first law of thermodynamics. Am I right? It's called the first law of thermodynamics. What you're saying, that law is known as the first law of thermodynamics. It's a law. It's not a theory. Theory can accept or not. This is a law. It is accepted by science as a law in the world. So what Girish and everybody in the group, very beautiful point, Girish, thank you for your contribution. So today what we are talking, energy, wind energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transformed. What is the way of transforming this, Girish? What is the way of transforming is called transmutation. Wind energy cannot be created or destroyed. It exists. It exists. It can only be transformed from one form to another. Hydropower cannot be created or destroyed. Hydropower, water power is there. It can only be transformed. Thermal power, coal, is there. Cannot be created or destroyed. It can be transmuted. Solar power is there. You cannot create solar power. You cannot destroy solar power. So Girish has come out with a beautiful law. But what is the spiritual connection to this now? Now I am asking the question. Now today's discussion starts. What is the spiritual connection to this whole discussion? Who will come?
It is that one energy, SIP only.
How do you say?
Indirectly, science believes and agrees with SIP. That one source.
Then why they're not accepting this SIP?
Only the name is different. Like they say it is unknown. Here we say it is not an object.
Correct. So beautiful. Girish has brought a beautiful thing on the table. The next we'll go to Sunil. But before that, Girish says science is actually agreeing on SIP. The only difference is science calls it energy. Science calls it power. And they don't know this. They don't know the power. What is the power? The spiritualists, they know that this power is the power of the divine, the power of SIP. These are, they say, there was a beautiful ad. There were two Americans who were enemies. There were two Americans who were enemies, biggest enemies. They were ready to kill each other. So time passed, a lot of time passed, and then they became not so much enemies. They became a little bit calm. So one advertising agency, they took a photograph of these two enemies. And the photograph said, this Mr. A and Mr. B, they disagree on all points. But there's only one point they all agree, that the best French fries is McDonald's. They both agree that the best French fries is McDonald's. So the ad became a very famous ad in America. So all I'm saying is, science and spirituality disagree on all counts. But one count science and spirituality agrees is that the source of everything is energy. Spirituality calls it divine energy. Science calls it, as Girish said, unknown energy. Unknown energy. Where is this energy coming from? Scientists don't know. Dark matter, gray matter, something they say. But it is energy. Sunil Chittar and then Bliko.
Shivam Sirji.
Sure.
I think
Sunil,
I, 1 minute. Yeah. So what I was saying is science is now recognizing it. Now there are consciousness studies going on among physicists, and now they also termed it as heart problem of consciousness. They are also now saying that the old science was, they got superstition of materialism, and now they are just, there are a lot of studies going on in this matter, which now they are recognizing that consciousness is supreme and materialistic universe is coming out of consciousness. And once they have gone into that type of studies, now they are coming into artificial intelligence, bioenergy, warp travel. It's still in the nascent stage. But if you ask like Brain Greens, who is considered to be an author of string theory, he now agrees to this fact. In fact, his brother is a monk, a Hindu monk. And he's saying all that it is not science. What we are saying in spirituality is a poetic version of what now science is looking into. So they are now that old theory is changing now. Like your Newton's, when Einstein came, Newton's was they don't disregard it, but they say they go deeper and deeper into it. So now they are looking into this hard problem of consciousness, and slowly they are understanding consciousness is what it is. So that last decade, there is a shift.
Okay.
And that's what they are slowly coming towards, what our old Shastras, very, very old Vedas are saying. And hopefully in near future, there will be no such type of discrimination between, they are not agreeing with religious and all those things, but spirituality and science is now slowly trying to merge.
So there's a big problem where people don't know the difference between religion and spirituality.
Yeah,
that is a big problem.
That is what I'm saying. Religion is definitely far, far away from spirituality, and spirituality and science are now converging to each other.
So science has a problem not with spirituality. Science has a problem with religion.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Bliko.
Shivam,
Bliko.
like Sunil Chittal said, this consciousness study is now in the front line in science, in all the disciplines, physics, science, medical, all. And with that, one of the experiment which is called string, what is called wave particle theory.
Yes.
So that wave particle theory, they come to know after that microscopic study of molecules and atoms and subatoms, and they found that energy is, that particle is converted into energy waves and then come back to the particle. So they surprise and they consider this as a God particle, or what we call SIP, means every molecule has the energy, every molecule has power.
Thank you, Bliko. I think now I want to quickly bring this discussion back into shape, because it's a question answer session for next 10 minutes. We shouldn't lose it. So my dear friends, somebody asked me this question. The question was, where does all power or electricity come from? This is a question that I'm putting back. Where does all power or electricity come from? And my dear friends, what we must all realize that even science agrees that all the power, all the electricity, is all coming from what Girish, I like the answer, sourceless source, or what Samatma said, SIP, or what everybody has been saying, Sunil Chittal. So my dear friends, what we are talking every day, the supreme immortal power manifests as solar power, manifests as hydropower, manifests as wind power, manifests as thermal power, and manifests as nuclear power. It can also manifest as biopower if it happens in the future. But it's also the human power. You know, I don't know whether you realize, scientists are trying to use the energy in the human being to create electricity. They're not succeeded still. They're not yet succeeded, but they are saying a human being has got power inside. They want to tap into human being. So what they're trying to do, they're trying to put a watch which should work on the power of the human being, but they have not been able to create it. They're trying. They have not yet been. They want to make a phone and a laptop which works on human power, no battery, from the human power. So all I'm saying is all this is fine, but what we spoke about, today I brought a very different discussion in front of you to give you a perspective, because when you're on this journey of enlightenment, all these things, it needs aparoksha anubhuti. Don't try to prove it. If you try to prove it, you will only go around in cycles. Don't try to prove it. Try to have the anubhuti of it. Try to have the experience. Over to you. I don't want to. This is a good discussion. I hope you enjoyed it. Just for a change, somebody asked this question. I shared with you because I believe it gives a good perspective to the journey of enlightenment. That the power inside a human being is coming from the same sourceless power that gives power to solar, thermal, hydro, wind, nuclear. The same power that's coming from all the elements is the same power inside a human being. When will we get this anubhuti? This will help us in this journey of enlightenment. Come on, questions. We have 10 more minutes of any question. Anybody wants to ask a question?
May I add with your permission, sir?
Yes, sir. You have all permission.
No, I just wanted to say that this Maya manifests as Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti, and Sankalpa Shakti. That there is a power to desire, power to will, the knowledge, and then power to act. Unless all these three come together, no human endeavor is possible.
Okay. Done. So you're just making a statement, right? I'm not taking it for...
So that is the start point. And now what we are seeing is the manifestation by science or yoga or whatever we are doing. But actually it manifests, like Maya manifests as three gunas. It also manifests as three Shaktis.
Yeah. So I'm saying that while Sunil, what you're saying, I accept what you're saying, absolutely. But let's understand that my goal is to make it very simple. In simple terms, there is SIP, a supreme immortal power. That power is manifesting in everything. Okay, Sunil, you disagree?
Yeah, there is only a SIP. In fact, there is the thing materialistic. SIP is, or everything else is the appearance in SIP. Correct. Like we see so many things in dream.
Yeah, it's a manifestations. So the SIP manifests as hydropower, it manifests as solar power, manifests as thermal power. It's all the sourceless source which Girish talked about is SIP, which Samatma told SIP.
Yes.
When she made a statement,
because Buddhists don't believe in source, they call it sourceless, but we believe it is a life, it is consciousness. So that's where willpower also is power, knowledge power also is power, and the other thing is kriya, which comes to all other power.
Yeah, so all these things are part of the human power. We combined it as the human power. So let us. So anybody has any questions on your journey of enlightenment, on your journey of realization of the truth? Is there anything holding you back before we close today's session? Today's session was a Sunday evening session. I just took a little deviation from the normal topics. So I said, let's have a topic, but we must understand before I close, and I'm waiting for your questions. We must understand that every human being is carrying energy, and the energy in the human being is part what Girish said. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. It only can be transformed from one form to another. So you can transform hydropower to hydroelectricity, solar power to solar energy. You can use any power, can be used for anything today. So they are trying to make cars. They are making instead of having cars which are running on fuel, they want to have battery operated cars. It's called hybrid. Many cars in the world today are running on a combination of a charged battery and petrol, not just fuel. Okay. So anybody has any questions?
In fact, I just bought that hybrid car Honda, and I'm experiencing it.
Okay, it's got both. It's got a combination.
It's got both, and it is 90% of the operations are automatic.
Good. So, my dear friends, anybody wants to ask a question? Or today you can, if you have no questions, I will go close early today. It's a Sunday evening, but if you have questions, we have another 5, 6, 7 minutes of questions. Anybody wants to ask any question on the subjects we have been covering vast subjects in the last few days. So I am back in my office for next couple of days. So anybody has any questions?
Guruji, I have a question.
Yes.
All this is knowledge, but how can we harness it?
Just like water in a refrigerator cannot become ice till it will crystallize. Knowledge will realize when you open your real eyes. Knowledge will become realization. You will realize knowledge when you open your real eyes. So Sunil Chittal's answer is this, Sunil. We are all looking at this world with eyes that are not spiritual eyes. 1% of this world is visually blind. 99% have got spiritual cataract. 99%. Today, one bunch of people are here watching this call. But there are thousands and millions who are in a disco. There are millions who are in a pub and having a drink. Yeah, there are millions watching a movie. Yeah, because for them, they are only Sunil. They are looking at pleasure. But Sunil Chittal is not looking at pleasure. Sunil Chittal is looking at purpose. He's looking at peace. Therefore, like 80% of you on this call, I can look at all the people whose video is on, at least all of you whose video is on, and some whose video is not on, who's only they are present in the call. Many people are not able to switch on the video for various reasons. They are in a group. They are unable to switch on the video because there's too much noise where they are. This group is the group who are not spiritually blind. This group is spiritually awakened. What level that you have reached of your enlightenment, I don't know. That is for you to do a self-analysis. And I think I gave Sudeep Bhargava, right? Who did I give? Oblico. Sudeep Bhargava. Who did the chart and sent back to me? Sudeep, you did it? So Sudeep Bhargava, I sent him a chart. If any of you wants a chart, self-analysis chart of enlightenment. So Sudeep Bhargava asked me, but personally, privately, he asked me, how can I reach that? You have a chart, that chart you have? How can I reach that state of knowing how much enlightenment I have reached? So Sudeep Bhargava, I sent him a chart, and I don't know. Yeah, here it is. I don't know whether you can see it or not. See, you can see. So Sudeep Bhargava filled the chart and sent it back to me, just for your information. Am I right, Sudeep? This is your chart. So he took nobody can see what we are. So Sudeep had that the 10th. I gave him 10 points of self-evaluation. So Sudeep took that 10 points, and whether 10%, 20%, 40%, 70%, 80%. So Sunil Chittal, we have to answer the long answer to your short question. We have to, this knowledge is nothing. So today I told all of you what we told. Today we got only knowledge. What is the knowledge we got? That what Girish said. Energy cannot be created, destroyed. It cannot be only transformed from one form to another. Then Sudeep Bhargava and Sunil both agreed. Hydropower, thermal power, nuclear power, solar power, wind power, all that we found out. So what? So what? Realization is to realize that every atom of power is divine. That every particle of energy is Sip. That every energy, this is where it's very important to realize Prabhu to hai har jagah, har shay mein wo hai, koi jagah na jahan wo nahi hai, kan kan mein wo hai, uske bin kuch nahi hai, sab kuch wahi hai, sab kuch wahi hai. हाइड्रो पावर वही है, सोलार पावर वही है, विंड पावर वही है, थर्मल भी वही है, बायो पावर जो आएगा तो वो भी शक्ति है, सब कुछ वही है, सब कुछ वही है, कण कण में शक्ति प्रभु की शक्ति है, साइंस से बोलता है कुछ भी नहीं है, पर सच में जो है ये प्रभु ही प्रभु है, और कुछ नहीं है, और कुछ नहीं है. There is only Prabhu. There is only Prabhu, only the divine. Only the divine. You and me, we are looking separate. Bliss is looking separate. Bliss is separate, air separate. No, we are not separate. We are same. We appear separate, but we are same. So this energy discussion is very important. I don't know how you're getting the connection. How much anubhuti this is giving you now. Whenever you see current now, whenever you see electricity now, what will you see? From today onwards, when you see electricity, what will you see?
Ship.
Ship. From today onwards, when you see, if you see a picture of Niagara Falls, you'll say ship. If you see a picture, if the sun is shining on a solar panel, you'll say ship. If the coal is burning and the steam engine is making a train run, you'll say ship. If there is any car driving on a fuel, you'll say this power is ship. Every molecule of energy, every atom, every dot of energy in this world, Prabhu Vyakti nahi, Prabhu Shakti hai. God is not somebody with a name and form. God is a power. God is omnipresent. Omnipresent means God is present everywhere. God is omnipotent. Omnipotent means God can do anything. God is omniscient. Omniscient means he knows everything. So today we must take back these things. Sip. Sip is omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient. Sip is every atom, in every molecule of power, of energy, of anything in this world. If you really see science, when they talked about the wave particle duality, they proved that a particle of matter becomes an energy wave, and the energy wave comes back into particle of matter. This is scientific proof. This is what they spent billions, trillions of dollars in Geneva in the exhibition called, in the experiment called Higgs boson. Higgs boson God particle experiment, where they built a tunnel underground and they shot atoms at some mad speed, bullet train speed, and to find out what is the tiniest particle of matter and how it behaves. Remember one thing, where proof is possible, faith is impossible. Where proof is possible, faith is impossible. Because if you have proof, then you don't need to believe. And the divine is all about belief. We have to believe. And this is anubhuti. So since you don't have any question, and if you have no question, I will end with my favorite poem. But if you have anybody has a question,
One question.
Yes, sir.
What is Shruti Pramana?
I don't know. What is the meaning of Shruti Pramana? I don't ask me complicated questions. Tell me, make it simple. What do you mean by Shruti Pramana?
Where we cannot give logical proof. The scriptures are the ultimate, saying SIP is beginningless and endless.
Girish.
Such things cannot be proved. That is
Dear
some
Girish.
pramana.
Yeah, but Girish, we will not go blindly by the scripture. We must not only, this is what I'm telling you, good point you brought about Girish. Just because scripture tells you that you can stand on your head and put your feet on the top, if scripture tells like this, we should not believe. We have to question every scripture. If it's Shruti Pramana, we have to ask, investigate, realize the truth. You will get the anubhuti. Just because Shruti, the Upanishad is telling, just because the Vedas is telling, we should not believe. Is that a point we have agreed upon, or just because today, if AiR is telling something, you have to blindly believe it? No, you cannot believe. Even it may be written in Bhagavad Gita, should you believe? Written in Bhagavad Gita, should you believe? No. You have to listen. Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasan. You need to ask, investigate, realize the truth. And that is why few days back, I told you something called aparoksh anubhuti. This cannot, Ashok Chittal asked last question he asked, Ashok Chittal, what? Okay, we have all the knowledge. Now tell me how we can realize. This is the biggest question in the world. So I will end with this. What it says, Ashok, I don't know if you got this poem, you have heard it. सच को कोई ना जानता, ये अपरोक्ष अनुभूति है, इसका कोई सबूत ना, सच का एहसास होना है। प्रभु तो है हर जगह, वो हमें ना दिखते हैं, उनके बिन तो कुछ भी ना, वो है तो हम सब हैं. Today's topic of energy matches this. And Ashok Chittal, how will this knowledge become realization? Ashok Chittal, how? जिसकी आंखें खुल जाती, वो सच का एहसास करता है, परोक्ष नहीं वो है करता, अपरोक्ष अनुभूति पाता है. दुनिया के भागदौड़ में वो ना ज्ञानी फंसता, अपरोक्ष अनुभूति वो करता. Don't try to prove it, Ashok. Sunil Chittal. Don't try to, if you try to prove this, no, Sunil, remember this, you will not prove it. You cannot prove it, Sunil. The answer I'm giving you this. How will you get to the answer, Sunil?
Aporoksha Anubhuti only.
So trust that, Ashok. Trust that. This cannot be done from the mental level. If you're trying,
Nididhyasana is a requirement.
Sudeep Bhargava's biggest problem is trying to realize enlightenment with the mind. I told Sudeep Bhargava, you cannot have enlightenment with the mind. Sudeep Bhargava was trying for months together. He wants enlightenment with the mind. I told you, unless you kill the mind, there can be no enlightenment. I bow down to you for your patience. We will meet tomorrow at 8.